Hello and welcome to another pattern recognition video. If you're not familiar with pattern recognition, it's kind of a shortcut to improve your chess. Basically, you can solve a bunch of tactical puzzles and make sure that you don't just do them once and then forget them. The idea is to go over those tactical puzzles multiple times. So maybe pick a set of 10, which I'll try and do in this video. Go over them once nice and slow, and then you can go over them again multiple times, and hopefully that'll help burn it into your long-term memory, those patterns. It'll help you remember those patterns, and then you can use them in your own games, and you'll recognize tactics more often by doing that. So I'm going to try and do, like I said, 10 puzzles at least. I set the rating from 500 to 1,000 to start with. If I do more videos in the future on perpetual check, which by the way is a good way to save a lost game. So if we look here, white is clearly winning with 2 rooks and a queen, and we just have this rook and I guess 2 extra pawns. So we need to do something to save this game. And so you're looking for a perpetual check. Pause the video at any time if you need more time to think. If not, look at checks, captures, and threats in that order. Checks are most forcing. And because we're looking for a perpetual check, hopefully you found this move. We check, and the king can only go back and forth here along these squares. So we can just check, check, and we'll just go back and forth checking the king, and there's no way to stop that. So check, check, and then we just go back and forth. And if you repeat the position on the board 3 times, well then, that'll be a draw. And so we basically check this king over and over again. All right, you got the idea, hopefully. All right, here, let's see, pawns are even, but we are down by a bishop here. So there's an attack building up here on this pawn. And in an endgame, even if they would give up their bishop, and then we trade queens here, we'll be down a pawn in an all pawns endgame. And usually, unless the pawns are doubled up or they're scattered across the board and there's some extenuating circumstances, usually if you have an extra pawn in an all pawns endgame, you can push that extra pawn through, get a passed pawn, promote, and win. So we are looking for a perpetual check here with the white pieces. Of course, our queen's the only one that can do it. We have to look for the checks first. We don't want to go here or the king will just capture us, of course. So hopefully you found this move. So we're going to move the queen here. The king can only go here. Remember, when a king is being checked, there are 3 options: capture the attacker, block the attacker, or run. So once the queen goes here, there's no way to capture or block. So the king will have to run. And then we can swing back here, deliver check. If the king runs here, we can go back to this square and check. So let's take a look at this. Check, check, and now we have a block. So, that is why you always want to look at the possibilities when you check your opponent. Make sure they can't capture you, that they can't block, that's going to, destroy our perpetual check possibilities. So we have to go here, and if they go back up here, we can just start checking back and forth. We do have to watch out though, because there are some options. If the king goes here, Well, then we can check after a block. It's a little trickier. Maybe we capture. All right, this might be worth taking a look at. So I'm going to pull up the analysis. So if we have, excuse me, these moves, check, king runs, queen to e5, and then we play here. Well, what if the king decides to run there? Now, you check, and if you go here, well, then it's a mate in 2. So that's what I wanted to take a look at. So that, because of this move, now the king is forced to go here, but of course we can go there. All right, anyway, before I drag that on too long, let's do the next problem here. I'm trying to get through 10 of these. All right. Well, we just had an attack on our king. So what should white do here? Capture and go ahead and material maybe? But then you have check. Then what? So we go ahead and capture. Our opponent goes here. Then if we move over here, that stops the perpetual check. All right, so I guess now we're on the opposite end. We're trying to avoid the perpetual check in this problem. So a good strategy is to make sure that your pieces are protecting one another, because now you also have the opportunity to bring your queen in and try and attack their queen, and there's not really many options. If the queen goes here, well, then you could block. He would be able to pick off this pawn with check. Well, then you can block this way, and eventually black will run out of checks. All right, let's move on to the next problem. What do we have here? Okay. We need to do something quickly here because we're down by a rook for these 2 pawns. So look for those checks. If we go here and deliver a check, the only thing that can be played is for the king to go here, and then we just go back and forth checking. So hopefully you found that one. And remember to pause at the beginning of the problem if you need more time to think. So check, and then this is a great pattern where you just go back and forth and the king is not able to block with his pieces or run to safety. Okay. Oh, this looks familiar now, doesn't it? Okay, so you should know this problem. We go there, then here, check, and so this was the same as the earlier problem. On to the next one. Okay, what does the material look like? And that's the first thing you want to check when you're trying to solve puzzles. Look at the material. Make sure that you know if you're ahead or behind, and that'll determine more clearly what you might have to do. All right. Well, we're behind by a bishop. So we need to start checking and try and get a perpetual check to save the game. So I'm thinking we move that knight, checking here. The king does not want to go here because then we could have a discovered check possible. Discovered attack by this queen. So that wouldn't be so good. King will probably have to move there. Then we just go back here. We start checking that king with our knight. So check, check, check. Now the king has to go back. We just check again. All right. Let's look at some more patterns. Oh, doesn't this look familiar? Okay, we just go there and then we move. So we already looked at this problem. Now it's kind of repeating some of the problems. All right, we have a pin. That's not good at all. Our queen is pinned to the king. We're behind in material, behind this knight. So we have to look for checks if we're trying to get a perpetual check. All right, so the rook is our only option, basically. So check. Let's say the king starts running. We go here. If he tries to run here, we go there. All right, looks like that works. There's nowhere the king can escape to. Oh, hold on. Let me look at one thing here. All right, if we go here, the king starts running and we check, and he goes here, we check again here, and he goes here. Oh, okay, he can't escape through here because of our pawn covering squares. Well, covering that square. All right, here we go. Check, 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 and perpetual check. On to the next one. The queens are attacking one another. We're behind by a rook here. So we need to look for that perpetual check in a hurry. Okay. So the only way to check is go here. If the king steps forward, we can go back to here. Now, what we have to look at is what if the king steps forward, then we can check here. Okay, I think that works. So check, check. Once again, you have to remember those blocking, the pawn blocking moves. So now if we go here, king goes there. We can go back up to here. So check, check. If the king decides to go there, we can just go there and check the king back and forth. All right. Oh, the king has moved into a discovered attack by the bishop. So what should we do here? All right, the problem is we're behind by in material here. We're down what? We have an extra bishop, but they have an extra queen. Now, if we drop our bishop, or excuse me, our rook back, along these other lines, well, then the bishop's attack can be blocked by the pawn. And that would put an end to our attack. So perhaps we have to take that pawn with a check here. The king would have to move, and then we just move back and forth with our rook, checking again. And then the king is forced to go back, and we just keep repeating that maneuver. All right, that was 10 problems, but they went fairly quickly and we repeated a few, so maybe I'll do a few more. Okay. And it looks like, speaking of repeating problems, you probably saw this one already. So you're getting a chance to repeat some of these puzzles to improve your pattern recognition here. Okay, and this one we saw as well. So hopefully you're remembering these as we repeat some of them. Okay, queen is hovering around our king here. But we do have our queen able to deliver a check. If the queen blocks, well, then we can capture this pawn and check. And if the queen tries to block, oh, okay, hold on. We need to take another look at this. Okay. If we check, here, the only option is to block with the queen. All right, then we drop back to here, delivering check. Queen blocks. Then what? We have to go back this way. We don't want to go back up to where we were, or his queen will capture us. So the queen would have to block. All right, looks like that works. So we're going to go there. Check, check. And now, as I said, we don't want to go here. We'll just be captured. So we have to go back here. Check. And now the only option is for the queen to block. And we can just go back and forth, blocking or checking along these lines. All right, the next problem. And once again, this one looks familiar. So we just perpetually check the king with that rook. And another familiar one. Okay, and pause these right away if you want to take your time again if you didn't remember them. But I'll do 5 more. So, imagine that. It looks like one we just did. So I'll have to bump up the difficulty on these maybe in the next video. And here's another one that we've already seen. So hopefully you remember these. I'll just do these next 4, so we get 20 in. So 3 more now. Oh, now it's just repeating the same ones. So what I'll do in the next perpetual check video is raise the difficulty level. Because hopefully these were fairly simple for you. And now it's just repeating a bunch of them. But that's what you want to do to help remember these patterns. Take a look at the puzzles multiple times, but maybe not back to back like this. Come on. Come on, chess.com. Okay, that was 20. I'll end there. But the next video, or not the next video, but the next time I do these perpetual check patterns, I'll increase the difficulty. That way, hopefully you'll get a different variety of puzzles instead of repeating these same ones. Okay, well, feel free to leave comments. I always enjoy hearing from viewers and subscribers. Like and subscribe to support the channel if you haven't already. Thank you for watching, and have a super chess day.